Western Potash is an exploration company that is looking for and developing potash deposits in Saskatchewan and Manitoba in Canada. It is a company that is very young. It started in 2007. We raised a significant amount of capital, somewhere in the order of $50 million in about 10 months. And with that money, we've been able to develop 2 new deposits. One of them for conventional mining, and the other one is for solution mining. Well, potash is primarily used in fertilizer. It's potassium chloride. It's a salt. It's like regular salt is NaCl, sodium chloride. This is the potassium equivalent. And it's primarily used in fertilizers. The world is growing at a rate right now of about 75 million new people a year in the world. So when you think about that number, we have to think about how we're going to continue to feed all these new people that come into the world every year. And there's only one way to do it. You have to increase your yields. In some of the growing economies, there's more need for things like protein, more beef, more pork. And of course, to produce a pound of beef, you need about 5 pounds of grains, which means there's going to be big demands for increasing in crops, as well as for things like biofuels. In Brazil, for example, most cars use a big amount of alcohol, which comes from sugarcane. So of course, sugarcane depletes the soils because it grows very quickly. And so you need to continuously replenish the soil with nutrients. And this is where potash comes in. Our company has, from the very beginning, been made up of excellent exploration people that have come from companies like Rio Tinto. And we have, the way that we approached our deposits was in a way that was different from our peer companies. The peer companies, many of them, they basically went and explored in areas that had been tested in the past, where some drilling had existed, where there was some potash that had been found. Now, those drill holes may have been done 30, 40 years ago. So we felt that, there is a reason why there's no mines in those areas. And that perhaps was that the economic of the deposits in those regions may not have been as favorable. So our approach was to find brand new deposits, particularly with characteristics that could have an advantage. For example, we looked for deposits in areas that had heat anomalies. And for example, the Milestone deposit indeed has temperatures of between 60 and 65 degrees Celsius, which will help the yields. Once you're producing potash, the solutions are going to be more pregnant with potash or KCl in solution. And the temperatures will help also at the recovery process, because if you start with your waters already at 65 degrees Celsius, to produce potash, you need to bring that temperature up to about 100 degrees Celsius. So for us to get there, it's going to take less energy than if you were starting from temperatures that were lower than that, such as our peers have. We were exploring in Manitoba. Now we're developing our resource in Saskatchewan. We have land applications in Brazil, but at this time we don't have any plans to basically work that project yet. Now we're putting together our definitive resource calculation. The next step will be to start working on the feasibility, doing some of the engineering that is required to show that the project is robust. The reason we became involved in potash exploration is that we saw big companies like Rio Tinto, BHP Billiton, Vale become involved in exploration and an acquisition of assets in potash. Now, to put that in perspective, these are the 3 biggest mining companies in the world who do not produce any potash. And they became involved in the sector. So to me, that signals that there's going to be a big demand for this product in the future. We've now seen BHP Billiton take out two of the juniors, peer companies just like ours, and they bought them for probably close to $700 million. So when my company's capitalized at $60 million, and I can see that some of our peer companies are being bought for $300–400 million, I think we have a significant upside in the company.